Whoa.
बेटा उमैद को बुलाओ कि माइक को सेट करें जल्दी से तेजी से जाओ
Well, that one's
उमैद
good.
से
Why
कहो
don't
कि
we?
माइक सेट करें जल्दी से आगे
Yeah. Okay.
यस इट्स वर्किंग हेलो अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू Not bad, but can we try one more time? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's like my kids, mashallah, mashallah. So today we have Sergeant McMath. Okay, thank you very much. So he is here on a special request to talk to you all about a zero tolerance policy. The zero tolerance policy is about misbehaving with the adults, bullying each other. Am I breaking? Yes. Okay. Bullying and not wearing your badges. This is not working. Wait. Hello. Yeah. So he will talk to you about this. So thank you very much, Sergeant. And the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Good morning, guys. How are y'all doing this morning? Doing all right? Like she said, my name's Sergeant McMath. A lot of you probably recognize me. I'm up here on Fridays directing traffic. I was out here when you guys started school earlier this year, helping your parents get to and from the parking lot. You guys see me around. My partners, David and Kevin, are up here as well. We're real happy to be here providing security for you guys. It's an honor and a privilege for you guys, for us to be here. And I said, I'll be happy to do it. And hopefully after today we can kind of knock all this out and put all this to bed. Test? All right, perfect. So before I start my main talk, there's a couple housekeeping things I need to cover with you guys. First of all, she said zero tolerance. Do y'all understand what that means? Raise your hand if you're not quite sure, and it's okay. It's okay to be not sure what zero tolerance means. Zero tolerance means there's no second chances, okay? There's no, oops, I messed up, can you give me another try? Zero tolerance means one violation is it. You're in big trouble, all right? And some of the things that you guys have zero tolerance policies for, number one is your name tags. You've got to be wearing your name tags. That's a huge security issue, not only from my standpoint as a police officer, but from their standpoint as trying to run this school and this program and make sure that everybody here is supposed to be here. From freshmen all the way up to juniors and seniors, okay? You have to be wearing that name tag. That's what lets them know that you belong here, you're supposed to be here, and you're not here for some bad purpose, all right? I'm being told that if you're not wearing those badges, you're not going to be allowed in, okay? I don't know what kind of consequence that'll have for you guys in terms of attendance or graduation or anything like that down the road, but let's just not even go there, okay? Wear your name tags at all times. All right, I have a name tag on my uniform at all times. I have an ID badge that I carry with me at all times. That way, if anybody ever has a question, who is this person? I can let them know, I am really a police officer. I'm really who I say I am, okay? It's not a unique thing for you guys. It's just how the world works these days, unfortunately. And I hate that we live in a world where we have to say, you need some sort of ID on you so we know that you are who you say you are and you're here for the right reasons. But it is what it is, okay? So make sure you guys are always, always, always wearing any kind of identification that your school gives you. Second thing, Phones. Just don't bring them. And if you do bring them, turn them off, leave them in your backpack. They definitely, zero tolerance for phones in the classroom. And this extends to recess or lunch or any other time that you guys are not in the classroom specifically, all right? Because I know some of you are already thinking for the loopholes, all right? I was a kid once, I was your age once, and I was always going, okay, so the rule says this, but how can I get around it? Stop thinking like that, all right? Rules are in place for a reason. So classrooms, recess, cafeteria, gym, outside, wherever you are, if you are here for school, you don't need the phone on because the phone is just a distraction, okay? I now have 2 cell phones. I have one that's for me, and I have one that my job gives me that I'm expected to answer and respond to emails all the time. And guess what? While 2 phones sounds really cool to you guys, 2 phones is not fun at all because that means people can find me at all times whenever they want. And I'm always being bothered by text messages and emails. It's nice to have that break. So take advantage of this opportunity that you have to not always have to have that cell phone on you, okay? If there's some sort of emergency that comes up, if your parents need to get a hold of you for some emergency outside of school, they know how to call up here and get a hold of one of the administrators, okay? If something happens, they will be able to get in touch with you. Put that phone away. Focus on this time that you have to learn and to grow and to get better information from these wonderful educators that you have. These men and women give their time, their talents to come up here every single day and impart that information and that knowledge on you. So take advantage of that and be respectful of that. All right? That's what we're going to talk about here in more depth in just a few minutes is respect. But when you bring your cell phones out in class, when you have them out at recess, what you're doing is you're disrespecting all of the adults that are spending their time and their efforts to be up here and try to share what they know with you guys, all right? How many of you have a brother or sister? Just about everybody, all right? How many of you have tried to tell your brother or sister something and they weren't paying any attention at all? Yeah. How did that make you feel? What was that?
Angry. Frustrated.
Frustrated. Some in the back here? Annoyed?
Irritated.
Irritated. Depressed. All right. Are any of those feelings good feelings? No, nobody feels good when they feel ignored or disrespected. So don't do that to your teachers and to the administrators and the adults of this facility, okay? If you wouldn't want that done to you, don't do it to somebody else, all right? And cell phones, I know it's 2023 and I know cell phones are everywhere and we're downloading apps and we're scanning QR codes to get to this or that, but there's a time and a place for everything, all right? And while you're here at school, your focus needs to be on learning and absorbing everything that you can. Put the phones away. If they see phones out, teachers are going to start confiscating them, contacting your parents, and they're going to work out some way to get them back. Their parents are going to have to work out some way to get that phone back. So don't put your parents in that situation. Just keep the phones away.
They will be in the cubis. We provided every teacher with the cubis, and they will be in the cubis. The children know that with the teachers take the cell phone in the morning, and they used to give them in the recess time, but no more. You will have your phone back at dismissal. So it's better not to bring your phone to the school because it will be of no use. And if the parents need anything urgent, they want to talk to you, they can always call the office, and the number has already been shared in an email.
All right, the third thing I want to talk to you guys about for housekeeping rules is no weapons at school, all right? I know this seems like I shouldn't even have to talk about this, but unfortunately it's come up, okay? And I'm not talking just about guns like the ones I carry, okay? That's the obvious one. Knives, okay? Knives count as weapons. So I hear a lot of laughing in this middle area. What's humorous about this? I'm curious to know. Is it because there's a loophole, or is there something y'all know that y'all don't want to tell me? No? Okay. No, absolutely no weapons here, guys, okay? And I know some of you might have scouts or some other activity right after class where you're allowed to have a pocket knife, okay? I'm a Cub Scout leader myself, all right? I've been involved in that for many, many years. I know that there's a lot of knives and things that are involved in those kind of things. They still don't need to be here at school. If you need a knife here for scouts or some other purpose like that, have your parents bring it up. They can leave it with the office or something like that, and you can get it at the appropriate time. At no point should any of you have any kind of weapon in your backpack. Obviously, it's a huge safety issue, right? We don't want anybody, maybe you know it's there, and maybe you know how to be safe with it, but what happens if you accidentally leave your backpack on the floor or on a couch out here or something like that, and one of these younger guys over here comes along and sees that knife in it, okay? Then what happens? Now they think, oh my goodness, this is so cool. I just found this knife, and they want to go show their friends, and then somebody accidentally gets hurt. And nobody meant anything bad to happen. Nobody intended for any bad consequences, but guess what? We're still there at that point. We're still having to call doctors or an ambulance or somebody to come deal with the cuts and the bleeding and stuff like that. So just don't bring the knives to school. Don't bring any kind of weapon to school. It doesn't need to be here. On the legal side, because that's what I do, right? I'm a police officer. I enforce the laws. Even though this is a private facility, okay? This is not a public school like Klein Cain High School or Klein High School or anything like that. The laws regarding weapons on school premises still apply here, okay? I don't want to see any of you get into a situation where the sheriff's office, some of my partners have to show up and conduct a criminal investigation because somebody brought up something to school that they shouldn't have, okay? I realize that, like I said, some of you may think this is a private school or this is a church-related school, so, they're just going to handle it here at the school. That's not the case, okay? Texas state law still applies to this facility and everything going on inside here, all right? So just don't put yourself in that situation. Leave everything at home. It doesn't need to be up here, okay? If you're having problems with somebody to the point that you feel like you need a weapon to protect yourself, what should we be doing in that situation? Perfect. Tell your teacher. Exactly. That's what they're here for. All right? They are here to help you guys. And if y'all are having problems with another student, go talk to a teacher about it. Okay? Talk to a teacher. They can get you help. They can talk to you about it. If they don't know how to solve it, they'll ask somebody. And guess what? If that person doesn't know, at some point, I usually get a phone call going, hey, Sergeant McMath, this thing came up at the mosque. What do we do about it? How can we resolve it? Is there any kind of information you can provide? Okay? That's what we do as adults. If we don't know the answer, we don't just make something up. We go and ask others and others and others till we finally get the right answer for you guys, okay? So there's always some other solution besides bringing a weapon to school, okay? That's the 3 housekeeping things I want to talk to you about on the no tolerance thing. Now I just want to talk to you guys generally about respect, okay? And I know you've all heard this word before. This is not new. This shouldn't be a new conversation for anybody. But what does respect mean to you? And you don't have to say anything out loud. I just want you to sit there for 10, 15 seconds and think, what does respect mean to you? How do you feel respected? How do you feel disrespected? All right? And I want you to think about that for yourself because it's going to be different for each individual person. Some people are going to feel disrespected in different situations. Other people aren't going to feel disrespected at those times. So think about that for just a minute. All right? And while you're thinking about that, I want you to think about some other things. What can you do to make sure other people don't feel disrespected by the things that you do or by the things you say? All right? Be mindful of the fact that just because you aren't bothered by a particular thing, that doesn't mean that somebody else won't be. Okay? I have I'm not a scholar by any means, but there's one phrase that I was taught by my parents from the time I was about 2 years old, and I try to live every single day, and I'm sure y'all have something very similar. Treat others the way you want to be treated. What's that? Darman? Okay. See? It's a universal thing, right? It doesn't matter what culture, what religion, what part of the world you come from. We've all learned long ago that the easiest way to get along with other people is to treat others the way you want to be treated. Okay? And we lose sight of that sometimes, and 2023 is a weird year. The recent, times with the rise of technology and everything has created some very unique situations that we're still struggling to adjust to on the legal side and as adults, because when I was your age, we were just starting to get little tiny cell phones. I know that's hard to believe for some of y'all, all right? But when I was your age, sitting in classrooms like you're doing now, we had big cell phones, and they were black and white screens, and they had like 2 games preloaded on them, and there was no internet, and all you could do was send a text message, and it cost you about 5 to 10, 15 cents every time you sent a message, and it cost that same amount every time you received one. So you were like trying to send them sneakily so that your parents didn't see it on the phone bill, and you were trying to not do too many to raise suspicions, all right? That's where my introduction to technology came from. Nowadays, you guys have these full-color 1080p screens that do 60 FPS resolution and all this other great stuff, and technology is a great thing, all right? But it's also one of our greatest enemies because it has made it so easy for us to treat other people in ways that we wouldn't do it face-to-face, all right? I see it all the time as a police officer, all right? Cyberbullying, online bullying, it's a thing. There are laws against it, whether you realize that or not. It's not just rules at the school or rules at a church or rules anywhere else. There are actual Texas state laws and United States federal laws addressing the use of technology to bully and harass other people, okay? And if you find yourself on the wrong side of those laws, all of a sudden your life changes very, very quickly, all right? And before it gets to that point, we want to have this talk today, right? Cell phones are great. Computers are great. They help us accomplish things that we never could accomplish. Back when I was your age and I wanted to know the answer to a question, I had to go to an encyclopedia. Who knows what an encyclopedia is? And I'm not talking about the online encyclopedias. All right? Yeah, the 26, 28 books up on dictionaries, thesauruses, things like that. All those big books on a shelf, that's what I had to go look stuff up in. Nowadays, I can just pull my phone out and I can just go on Google and say, why does a bee fly? And I get my answer in like 0.0003 seconds, all right? We have to remember that even though technology can help us and can be a big benefit, it's also not helping us in our interactions with others, okay? Cyberbullying is at an all-time high, and the consequences of that cyberbullying are at an all-time high. And it's a very, very sad situation that I find myself in as a police officer, having to respond and conduct these criminal investigations into cyberbullying and the tragic results, okay? We have to treat each other with respect, both face-to-face and over the internet. Because I know for a fact some of you have no problem saying things to other people while you're behind your phone, while you're behind your screen, in the safety of your bedroom. But I guarantee you, if you were face-to-face with that person, you wouldn't say the same things, right? For whatever reason, we treat other people differently face-to-face than we do online, and that shouldn't be the case. We should always, always, always be treating each other with respect, because you're going to find out that one day, the people you disrespected today, guess what? One day they're your boss. One day they're controlling your paycheck. And when you get paid and when you don't get paid. One day, that person that you disrespected today has some other important thing that you need. All right, they become somebody you have to work with at work. You get assigned to be partners on a project. And a school project's one thing, but a work project's a totally different thing. If you don't accomplish that work project, guess what? You get fired. No paycheck, no income. No food on the table. You're not paying the bills. You're not paying the lights. You're not paying your mortgage, your rent. So there's very, very, very real consequences to not respecting each other, okay? And I want you guys to think about that. Because some of y'all are a little young, and y'all aren't thinking about the real world yet, and I don't want y'all thinking about the real world. I want y'all to be thinking about, fun and learning and coming to school and being excited. For my older students, who are my juniors and seniors? All right? Y'all are knocking on the door, guys. Have y'all thought about that? Have y'all really, truly stopped and thought about that? In a year or two, maybe even less, because what is it, October? Before you know it, it's going to be December and the end of the semester. And then you're going to come back in January, February, and you're only going to have 5 or 6 more months. And that's it. Your journey in K through 12 is done. You're moving on to community college. You're moving on to a 4-year college somewhere. You're starting to study. And, I can sit here right now and I can talk to these little guys up here and I can go, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they're going to tell me, I want to be a veterinarian or a police officer or a doctor or whatever. You guys, my juniors and seniors, you are a year or 2 or less away from actually going, what do I want to be when I grow up? Like, I have to decide now. Like, no more delaying, no more going, well, I woke up today and I feel like I want to do this. I woke up today and I feel like I want to do that. You have to make that decision right now. Real world time. Okay? And the decisions you make right now regarding how you interact with others and how you treat others and how you show respect to others has a lot of effect on that. If you can't get along with the people here, how are you going to get along with the people in colleges and universities? People that think differently, that view the world differently than you do. All right? We have to be tolerant. We have to be respectful of everybody, regardless of how they look, of how they talk, how they walk, how they dress. Okay? Every single person in this room is important. Every single person in this room matters. And every single person in this room is worthy of respect, all the way from my youngest guys all the way up to my oldest. Okay? So keep that in mind. And I know it's sometimes kind of a hard thing to think about. But just remember that one simple phrase. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Perfect. All right. Now, I have a few more things. A few more things before I get off my soapbox and turn this back over to your teachers, okay? On the cell phones, do not record anybody, do not take pictures of anybody without their permission, okay? That is a huge way to get yourself in a lot of trouble very, very, very quickly, okay? In addition to the cyberbullying laws that the state of Texas has enacted over the last 5 to 6 years, we have also enacted a lot of laws regarding cyber harassment, improper photography, improper videography, okay? Taking pictures and videos of people without their permission, all right? And again, if we go back to the treat others the way you want to be treated, would you want people taking pictures and videos of you without your permission? Absolutely not. So don't do it to somebody else. And I don't care what the reason is. Maybe you woke up today and you're like, man, I'm having a bad hair day. I don't want anybody to take a picture of this. All right? Maybe you woke up today and you're like, I forgot to do laundry, so all I have is this dumb old shirt I've had for 2 years and these pants. I don't want anybody to take a picture of me today because I'm not dressed and I'm not looking my best. Whatever your reason is for not wanting to be photographed or videoed, that is enough. Okay? When you say, no, I don't want you to take my picture, or no, I don't want you to take my video, or even worse, if you don't know that somebody's doing it, that is a huge violation of your rights. And if you're on the other side of that, and you're the one taking that picture, or you're the one taking that video of somebody else, you are violating their rights in a very, very deep, deep way. All right? Don't do it. Just don't go there. All right? The easiest way, if you want to take a picture or a video of somebody, ask them, hey, can I take a picture of you? And explain why. Hey, you're my friend. You're looking really great today. Can we take a picture together? Right? Don't ever take pictures or videos of somebody else without their permission. Not only is it going to get you in trouble here at school, it could also get you in trouble with the law. All right, and then you guys have to meet one of my partners, and I don't want that to happen to any of you guys. Respect to adults. All right, I know we all are turning 14, 15, 16. I remember being that age once, all right? And I remember thinking I knew everything. I knew everything that my parents could possibly teach me. I knew more than my teachers could possibly teach me. I'm grown. I got this. All right, even for my younger guys up here, some of y'all are starting to go, I've got this figured out. This whole life thing, right? This isn't too bad. I wake up in the morning, I eat some breakfast, I go to school, I learn, I come home, I do my homework, I go to scouts or whatever other activities I have, learn to play my instrument, I practice it, and I go to bed. I got this. I don't need to hear anything else. All right? Do what? Not what I think? Oh, yeah, no. There's a whole lot more to it than that, right? You don't know everything. I don't know everything. So we have to show respect to the people that are trying to impart this knowledge on us. Whether they're a teacher, whether they're a parent, whether they're an administrator here, whether they're a police officer, or just some other adult. All right, we have lived longer than you have. We have more life experience than you do. And as a result, we are due a little bit of respect just by the fact that we are older. It doesn't matter what my role is. It doesn't matter how I'm related to you or not related to you. You need to show me respect. You need to show these adults respect because of the fact that we're adults. Okay? You need to show respect, younger students. You show respect to the older students because they have lived and they have experienced things and they have stuff that they can teach you. Older students, you guys need to be respectful of these younger guys. How many of y'all have heard that before? Probably not. I have been, besides being a police officer, I have been involved in the scouting program for over 25 years. Oh my goodness, you look so young. I don't believe that. I know, thank you. I have been involved in scouting for over 25 years. And one of the reasons why I have stayed involved in scouting for so long is because even though I'm grown and I am an adult, I get to work with these young guys up here on these front rows once a week, and I get to learn from them. I learn from my scouts every single week. I learn something from my 5-year-old scouts all the way up to my 5th grade scouts. And I do that because I come in with respect. I don't come into my scout meeting going, I'm the cub master and I'm in charge and you will listen to everything that I say. I come into every meeting, let's learn, let's have fun together. All right, and with that respectful attitude toward everybody in the room, from my youngest people all the way to the adults and the other parents in the room, I always learn something, and I always have some sort of positive interaction as a result from that. So to tie that back into respect, you will never, ever get in trouble for showing respect to somebody else, regardless of their age, regardless of their position, their rank, their status in society. You will never, ever get in trouble for showing respect. What you will get in trouble for is not showing respect. So it can never be a bad thing to treat somebody nicely. It can only be good. It's one of the few true win-win situations we have in life, right? I win, I feel good, I learned something, I got something out of that interaction, and the other person wins because they feel good and they feel respected and they feel like that was a positive interaction. So please, no matter who you're talking to, no matter who you're dealing with, show them respect, but especially show respect to your teachers and administrators and leaders here at this facility because they have your best interest in heart, all right? And they're just trying to impart knowledge and education and understanding onto you guys. Do y'all have any questions for me? Now, before I open this up to any, screen your questions, all right? Nothing silly. Nothing crazy, honest, true questions about anything I've talked about. This is one of the rare opportunities you have where you have a Harris County Sheriff's Office sergeant as your captive audience. I can't leave here until they tell me I can go. All right? So this is your chance to ask me questions about respect, treating others right, anything like that, anything we just talked about. All right? Did I see a hand over here? Can you stand up so I can hear you? I don't have good hearing.
What about like toys and like other stuff other than phones? Like that aren't phones.
Okay, just like regular toys and things like that? That's a very good question. Don't bring those to school either because they're distractions as well. Pokemon cards, gujitsus, whatever y'all are doing these days. You know, I have some young kids at home. I'm kind of getting into the toy thing with them. Whatever it is, whatever the toy is, whatever the, you know, it's just a distraction. It comes between you and your education. And at this point in your life, the only thing I want you to focus on is learning as much as you can from this wealth of information you guys have around you. All right? Once you graduate here and you move on and you go become individual adults and you're living life the way you want to live, then you can decide what rules you want to make for yourself. But while you're here, no toys, no phones, no technology, no distractions. Just come to school every day with the right mindset saying, I'm ready to learn. Any other questions? Okay. Oh, never mind? Never mind? No? All right. We got... All right. Hold on. Be quiet so I can hear him. I can't hear very well. I'm sorry? I was in Boy Scouts. I did. I know I got all the Eagle requireds and probably 10 or 15 above that. Thank you. Any other questions? I heard it over here. My rank is sergeant. Means I'm a supervisor. Oh, and rank? So Boy Scouts, I went to Eagle, and now I'm Cub Master of Pac 1201 up at Blackshear. Blackshear Elementary, yeah. So if any of y'all have friends at Blackshear, I'm their Cub Master. All right, back to the topic at hand, though. Any questions about respect, the rules for the school, zero tolerance policy, anything like that?
All right, so some people are, someone's accusing someone that they took a picture of them without the consent. What do we do first? It's kind of our escalation.
So if a student comes to you and says, hey, somebody took my picture without consent, I would try to handle that at y'all's level. Get with the school administrators. Do y'all have like a principal or a headmaster or something like that? Right there. Okay. Teachers, you guys work with her. Say, hey, this concern was brought to me by a student. This is what I know. This is the information that I have. You can reach out to parents if you want and see if they can provide any guidance. Really and truly, it's ultimately kind of it's a gray area. Depending on what the nature of the allegation is and what the nature of that photograph or video is, you guys can determine, you know, we can probably handle this at our level and take care of it administratively. Or it may be something where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this student just disclosed this to me. I need to immediately call police. Either way, and if you're not sure, call us. You know, that's what we're here for. We can come out, we can take a look at what you have, and we can kind of give you some guidance on the best way to handle it.
So, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Two kids that actually end up having a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of them, or maybe both of them are injured. Thank you for the background noise. What can possibly happen legally and medically?
So, depending on your age, okay, depending on your age, there may or may not be a criminal component to it, okay? In Texas, there's two types of laws. We have criminal laws and we have civil laws, okay? Once you become a certain age, and it just depends, I can't give you a firm answer, it's 13 or it's 15 or it's 17, because we have laws on the books where as young as 8 or 9, you can be charged with a criminal offense. Okay, yeah. So, we can and have, as a state, listen up, guys. We can and have, as the state of Texas, pursued criminal investigations and criminal charges against people as young as 8 or 9 years old. Okay? They end up in a special facility out in East Texas just for juveniles. Okay? It's not fun. It's basically prison for kids. Okay? Now, I say all that to say these kind of things could result in that. All right? More likely what will happen, let's say you and another student get into an actual physical fight, y'all get injured, there's black eyes, busted lips, whatever it is, okay? not only are you going to get in trouble at the school level, all right, possibly expelled, because I know at the public school level, fighting gets instant suspension. You get kicked out of school for a while, and then you have to try to go through some hearings with the school district to be able to come back to school. Okay, I'm sure since this is a private school, they will be even more strict, since that fighting was in that zero tolerance thing I talked about at the beginning of this. All right, so not only are you going to have consequences at the school level where you may get kicked out of school, there may be criminal charges, depending on your age, depending on the severity of the injuries. But more than likely what could happen is that civil law side comes into play. Y'all know what civil law is? Civil law is things that don't carry jail time or don't carry, prison time, but you get punished by fines. Lawsuits are what fall under civil law, okay? And if you guys get into a fight with another student, not only could you get sued, not only could your parents get sued, but this school, this church could get sued. All right? And I know deep in your hearts, none of you, even though you might not like that student, even though you might have some issues with them, I know deep in your hearts, none of you want those kind of far-reaching consequences to happen, right? I guarantee you nobody wants anything bad to happen to this facility, to your teachers, to your administrators. So those are all very real consequences that could happen from a fight between students, especially when somebody gets hurt. So the best thing to do is treat others the way you want to be treated. And I'll add on to that, keep your body to yourself. All right, that's what I've had to start telling my kids, because I told them, hey, keep your hands to yourselves. And what did they start doing? They started bumping into each other, or they started kicking each other, or laying on each other just to aggravate each other. So now I've had to tell my kids, keep your bodies to yourself. Hands, feet, heads, arms, legs, whatever. Just keep it to yourself. All right, that's the easiest way. And if you can follow those two rules, if you can treat others the way you want to be treated, and you can keep yourself to yourself, you're going to go far in life. And you don't have to worry about what all these consequences are, or what happens if I get caught doing this, or what happens if this happens. All right? Very good question. Any others? What happens if
What happens if someone is threatening you? Like they're saying, don't tell a teacher or I'll do this to you.
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. What happens if somebody's doing something to you and they say, don't tell a teacher, or they don't tell a parent? Any of my older students anybody want to answer that, what they should do? What should they do?
Well, if they're told not to contact a teacher, whoever says this to them is wrong. You should always go to an administrator, teacher, or whatever, or parent. Tell an adult who can handle it.
Perfect answer. Did you hear that? Everybody give him a round of applause. So he said, whoever's telling you that, whoever's telling you not to tell a teacher, not to tell a parent or whatever, is wrong. You go tell that teacher. You go tell your parent. All right? That way you can get the help you need. All right? What's your question?
Wait, one second. I gotta remember it.
I'll come back to you. What if someone has snuck a weapon into your backpack? All right? So remember what I just said. Remember what I just said. Zero tolerance for any kind of weapons here on this property, right? Zero tolerance. So if you go to your backpack and you find that somebody has put something in your backpack that doesn't belong, do not touch it. Immediately go tell your teacher, I just found this in my backpack, and let the adults take care of it, okay? What if you get blamed?
If they put the weapon in your backpack and you get blamed.
If you find a weapon in your backpack that does not belong to you and you immediately tell a teacher about it, I can almost guarantee you're not going to get blamed for it. All right? As grown-ups, I won't give away all of our secrets. You guys will learn that one day when y'all become adults and parents on your own. You'll get a book that's like how to parent and how to figure out things, and I can't reveal that because it's all secret stuff, but we know who's telling the truth and we know who's lying. Okay? And if you're the one that tells the teacher that you found it, I can almost guarantee you're not going to get in trouble for it, okay? But the best policy is always to tell the truth and always tell an adult. Potentially, yes. We have ways on the law enforcement side of doing investigations, but even more simply than that, these grown-ups in this room, we know who's telling the truth, we know who's lying, and we know what's going on. We're not nearly as dumb as some of y'all think we are.
What if somebody steals your name tag and put it like pretend they have a knife and they stole your name tag, or they wrote something in your handwriting and put it on the knife or something so that looks like it's yours, but it's actually theirs?
If you know it's not yours, tell your teacher. All right? In all these what ifs about the knives and stuff, if it's not yours and you find it, just don't touch it and immediately tell a teacher. We'll figure out all the other stuff. We'll figure out the name tags and the forged handwriting and stuff like that. The only thing you need to worry about is if you find a weapon anywhere on this property, whether it's a knife or a gun or anything else, don't touch it and immediately tell an adult. That's the easiest way to handle it.
What if the teacher finds it in your backpack?
All right, these are all getting to the same thing. If your teacher finds it in your backpack and it's not yours, they're going to have questions. Just tell the truth. Always cooperate with adults, all right? How many of you have lied to your parents about something? You ate the candy, right? I know I'm asking you to tell on yourself a little bit here, but let's be honest, all right? Because if y'all look, guess what? Guess what? Sergeant McMath's hand is in the air too, okay? We're all telling ourselves right now. We all ate the candy when we weren't supposed to. We all had the extra dessert when we weren't supposed to. We all stayed up past our bedtime when we weren't supposed to, and we didn't tell our parents about it, okay? They know. Listen up, guys. Listen up. Shh. They know. You think you got one over on them, you did not. They know. Now, whether or not they chose to say anything about it or do anything at that moment is up to them, but they know. Your teachers will know. Your teachers will understand if these things come up. And the best thing, number one, is just don't even let it come up. Don't bring any of this stuff to school, all right? And number two, if you do find it, tell an adult and let the adults handle it. Run. Run. But don't just run. Where should we run to? Run to a teacher. Run to an administrator, right? You listen up, guys. Listen up, guys. If somebody has a weapon and there's no adults around, run toward a location where there will be adults. You guys know where the offices are here. You guys know where the teachers are when they're not in the classroom or they're not with you. Run to those locations, yell, scream, make a lot of noise so that people will hear and will come to see what's going on. All right, I'm going to do a few more questions here because we're getting all into the same stuff here. I'm going to come back to you.
What if you're taking a major grade and your parents call you for something major?
I'll let your teachers figure that out, okay? I don't know about your major grades and your school policies. What's your question?
So my question for this is that instead of having a knife, what if they had a gun instead?
All right, we're getting into a lot of what ifs here, guys. And we could sit here all day long, literally all day long, and answer every single what if situation and what if question. The best advice I have for you on 99.9.9.9% of these is tell an adult if you see it, don't touch it. And if it's not in your hands and you see somebody else with it, run away and tell an adult. All right? But the answer always comes back to get an adult involved as quickly as possible. All right? Let me have like 2 more questions here. What you got?
What about drugs?
What about drugs? I think I think for that conversation, they're going to have to bring me back another time because that's like a whole nother hour of conversation, all right? If you see them, don't touch them. Don't use them. There's nothing good that comes from drugs, all right? Just stay away from them. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. There's nothing good that comes from them. Trust me. I've been in law enforcement for over 10 years. I've dealt with a lot of drugs and narcotics. I've dealt with a lot of people that use those, and it never ends positively. It never ends well. So just do yourself a favor now. Don't touch them. Stay away from them.
What if someone is threatening you with, like if someone says, I'm going to kill you?
If someone threatens to hurt you in any way, shape, or form, immediately tell an adult. Whether that's your parent, a teacher, wherever you're at. If you're here at school, go tell a teacher. If it happens at home, go tell a teacher. If it happens online, all right, tying back in that cyberbullying. If you're playing Roblox or any of those other games that y'all play these days with other people online and somebody starts sending you threatening messages or starts saying inappropriate things over the chat, listen up, guys. All right? Minecraft, Roblox, Call of Duty, whatever it is that you guys are playing these days, if people are sending you threatening messages, if people are saying threatening things over that, tell your parents. If the threats are happening here at school, tell a teacher, all right? And then we can start handling it from there. All right, one more question. What you got?
I'm curious. If I ever get into a fight where it gets physical, I'm getting punched, kicked, and hit, is it in my right as a U.S. citizen to act self-defense, to hit back and do that? And will I be punished for it if I do?
That's a loaded question. I'll do my best to answer it. Legally, in the state of Texas, do you have a right to self-defense? Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes and no. All right? Yes and no. How old are you? You're 12. Because you're at school, your right to self-defense is pretty much this. Okay? Because school is a different situation, school has zero tolerance policies for fighting for anybody involved. All right? And that's true not only for this school, but any public school in the state of Texas as well. There's a zero tolerance policy for fighting. Whether you're the person that threw the first punch or you're the one that was on the receiving end. All right? Zero tolerance. So just don't get into a fight. If it's getting escalated between you and another student and they're saying mean things or they're saying, I want to fight you, you show up after school or you meet me here and we're going to do this, don't do it. Immediately go to an adult, immediately go to a teacher and tell them what's going on. Okay? So your right to self-defense is almost non-existent here, so don't try to play that card. All right, guys. Thank you so much for your time this morning. I hope you all got something out of it, out of our little talk here, okay? No matter what age you are, all right, I hope that you were able to get something out of it. The best advice I can give you, I've already given it to you, but we're going to repeat it one more time before we get out of here today because it's that important. Treat others the way you want to be treated. And keep yourself to yourself. All right? Thank you, guys. Y'all have a great day. And I look forward to seeing you guys around here some more, okay?
Yes, thank you, Sergeant Macbeth. Thank you very much. That was very enlightening, very informative, and very interesting too. I hope you all learned a lot. You all enjoyed it. All your questions have been answered. And I hope that you will keep this in mind. Can all of you do a clapping as a thank you for Sergeant? Thank you, Sergeant. Thank you very much. We love having you here. And hopefully we can do another session after some time. Just as a